Hi there. All right, everyone. Another Monday night, another Q&A. Tonight we've got, well, I think probably one of the best pundits, stroke commentators in snooker, in Neal Foulds. I'm looking forward to seeing us around. He's there. So, yeah, waiting for Fouldsy to connect. Hi there. Hello.
How you doing? You all
In the
right?
garden, are you?
Yeah. I thought I'd give it a try. I hope the birds are not too loud or anything,
No,
But
no,
I'm
no,
I'm
no. It's
trying
all.
my best.
How you getting on? All right.
Yeah, I'm all right. Listen, I've been waiting for weeks. For every Monday night, I'm thinking, when's it going to be my turn? I mean, every time my phone rings, I think that'll be Stephen. And what I've realised, you had some great guests. It's been brilliant, but you've run out of options. Now it's my turn, right? I've been waiting by my phone for weeks for this.
Is it? It's only you then Dennis Taylor next week.
Oh, Dennis not been on yet. Oh, okay,
No.
okay.
No, I
Yeah,
don't know. I don't know where Dennis will come on. I don't know. I don't know. But how's Jeff? How's the family? Good.
yeah, very good, mate. Yeah, all doing well. Yeah, I mean, this lockdown has been tough for everyone, hasn't it? In different ways, And
Yeah.
it's nice when you can. I guess you have a little game of golf and doing some nice things, but
Yeah.
yeah, everyone's finding it difficult in different ways. I think it has to be.
Well, what I mean, because you just watch so much sport, though, don't you? It's not snooker. It's cricket, horse racing. What are you doing all day?
The
You must
cricket.
be.
Yeah, I mean the cricket's a big deal for me. I
Yeah.
mean, really, cricket is my absolute love. I mean, snooker's my life, always
Yeah.
has been, but cricket has been such a big part of my life. This time of year, the spring coming into the summer, I love it. So it's hard. It's hard
Yeah.
for me, not even as a cricketer.
Yeah. Yeah.
So but like the strange thing is, Stephen, we got a little bit of unfinished snooker business, haven't we? That's
I know.
normally when the World Championship ends. You're ready to get away from it, but the season didn't end yet, so there's unfinished stuff to be sorted out.
It's so strange. It's so strange
Yeah,
because you get. I mean, you're a player. You get sort of March, April. You're thinking
yeah,
about Sheffield. Even just working at it, you're thinking about Sheffield and everything. Then it's not on, and like we're almost into June and we've had no World Championship. It's just to me, it's very very strange. Very strange.
I don't know what you think about this year's World Championship. Right now, let's just say it's going to be on, which we all hope, right?
Yeah.
Because we need it. There's a part of me that wants the winner of it, to have already won it before, and I think the perfect solution would be if Judd won it again, because I think if you were a first-time winner, then everyone would say, yeah, but that wasn't quite the same. It was that
Yeah.
World Championship that wasn't in the spring. It was no one had been playing. I don't suppose he'll win it again under different circumstances. So I almost would like to see someone like Judd win it again, or someone
If
that's
he
already won it.
if he breaks the curse, though, they'll say, but it wasn't right, was it? You broke the Crucible curse. You're the first person. I think it'll be the most open World Championship ever because if there's no people there, it's going to
Yeah,
be. I mean, you imagine 17-17, the final with no crowd. It's just I can say it. I
I
can't
know.
even think what that'd be like.
And who's been practicing? I know one person I know has been practicing, but I don't think he'll win it. Sonny Akani, the Thai player. I follow him on Facebook, and he's doing 12 hours a day. That guy, over in Thailand, and his dad's there watching, and then his dad's sleeping by the side of the table. That's on. I don't know if you've seen those streams of like the nesting birds down here in Dorset and laying the eggs and all that. You can watch these for therapy, but you can also watch Sonny Akani practice all day.
What
Right?
there are these
So
lineups, straight blues off the spot.
everything, right? It's on there. And I mean, he could win the World Championship based on his practice. I'm not sure he's good enough, but someone's going to have to win the thing if we play it, which is, I don't quite know who it could be. I'm absolutely at a loss to know at this point.
Well, I mean, the thing, obviously, we've got the tournament starting on Monday,
Yeah,
which is obviously because I was surprised. I didn't think they get a lot of big players playing, but I don't, I mean, Trump's play. Obviously, boredom comes into it. They've got to do something and practice. Obviously, if the World Championship is going to go ahead, so I mean,
yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I know that Trump's been practicing. When I spoke to him on here doing this, he said he was doing an hour a day, 2 hours a day to keep his eye in.
Mm.
Matt Selt's been practicing now a couple of weeks. He's got a table in his own little room, so that's fine. Obviously, if you're in a club, then obviously you're a bit knackered, aren't you?
Yeah, I think I saw Rob Milkins went to practice today, and his club was closed. So he's not had a game.
Outside with his cue.
Apparently, yeah.
Backing of the door.
No, I think Stuart Bingham might have a table. I think Graham Dott's got a table.
Yeah.
I don't know. Some people, I don't know if you ever had a table. I think you might have done, but
at the end I did.
Yeah, because some people have had a table and they get rid of them because they actually don't like having a table in their house because they get lazy.
Not the same. It's not the same.
Yeah.
I must admit, in my state of my career, it was all right because I couldn't do the 6-7 hours anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you do half an hour. You think I'll have a cup of tea, and then a cup of tea turns into half an hour, and a half an hour turns into an hour turns into I'll come back tomorrow. It's not the same. It's not the same, and you don't. But yeah, I seen Neal Robertson's back in the club and that. So yeah, we'll see next week. It'll be interesting.
Be very interesting. Yeah, I mean, Ronnie's down to playing it. I don't know whether he will. I hope he will. But it's a good lineup. Look, it comes down to one thing, right? Everyone's had all this time off.
He said to me in here, sorry to interrupt, he said to me in here 3 or 4 weeks ago he wasn't going to play in the World. So I mean, like,
well, listen, Ronnie didn't play in the Masters, but he played in the shootout. So if you can work out anything what he's going to do next, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, it comes down to this, right? Again, going back to this lockdown, what are you supposed to do with your time? Either you're a snooker player or you're not. And I think that any snooker player who can get there and play in it in Milton Keynes, I think they'd have to play in it, wouldn't they? What else could they be doing that's more significant, having been, stuck away all this time?
Exactly. I mean, that's what I said to. I mean, I think Selby texted me the other day. Said, "Do you think I should play in it?" I said, "Well, absolutely. I mean, just get out of the house. I mean, play. I mean, I think it's a no-brainer. Obviously, you got to test and there's all sort of things you have to do. But I mean, surely you can't wait to get on the table. The break that they've had. That'd be my.
World snooker get a lot of stick, right? It's a bit like the government. Whoever's in government, it's not political, whoever it is, whether it was the days of Labour or Conservative, they always get stick, yeah? And the snooker body gets a lot of stick all the time. But actually, they've done great work. I've read the document and, all the testing and everything so rigorously done.
Well, it's Matchroom, it's not World Snooker, is it? No,
well, it is, yeah. But there's much the same thing, aren't they, now, really? It's the same people who are making the decisions. But yeah, it is Matchroom, you're right. It's a Matchroom tournament, as is the Champion of Champions. But as I say, they're linked. They've done a good job. They're certainly trying to get it going. And I think it's not really only about snooker, this tournament. It's just about sport being back, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's what people want to see. Live sport, we're so starved of it now. So I think it's a good initiative, and I fingers crossed it'll all work.
Absolutely. When you were talking about cricket, Aaron, before we first live, if you had the choice for the rest of your life to watch one sport, cricket or snooker, what would it be? Well, you'd bin snooker, would you?
Why are you asking me? That's a difficult one. Well, no, I don't. Why have you got? Why would I have to make
you said
that?
You said cricket's my main love and snooker's my life. What was that? I wanted to. We changed the subject. I meant to ask Davis. When Davis was on, I meant to say to him, if you had to get rid of one, music or snooker for the rest of your life, and I forgot to ask him. I was mad. I wanted to ask him that because I'd be interested to know what he would get rid of if he had to one.
I know, but why would you have to make, like, you might as well say, you've got two best friends, you have to shoot one of them. That's never going to happen.
Tell me which one.
But it's never going to be that decision. No, look, I love cricket. Snooker's been my life. I think, to be honest with you, I fell out of love with the game a little bit about 20 years ago, just when I was coming to the end of playing. Without going into it, we both know the game was a bit torn. There was good friendships in the game, suffered for a little period of time. I was coming to the end of my playing days, so I was lucky to get back into it from the other side. I loved playing, but I didn't miss it when I packed it in. I think when I stopped playing 2003, I was dropping down. I didn't really want to go through possibly Q school and all that, and so I'd fallen out of love with it a bit. But now I'm so lucky to have the chance to talk about the game. Yeah. And I think I like the game more than ever now, because I don't know if I always did like it that much when I was playing.
I mean, you actually did stop, didn't you? I mean, everyone, including myself, was like, we'll always stop. But like, still pick up a cue and try and think that you can play. But you actually did stop. When was it? Can you remember the last time you had a cue in your hands? Actually, frame?
No. Occasionally I had a game with my dad at Christmas Eve, but he's not been too well for the last couple of years, so we haven't had a chance. But that would be the only day. But in 2011, I was asked to play in the World Seniors one year. Yeah. And I was in the pub, actually, when Jason Ferguson rang me. You've had a couple of drinks. Yeah. I said, I'm not going to do it, Jason. He said, well, yeah, you might like to. He said, we're going to go down the list. You're the last name who would get, you'd be seeded. You wouldn't have to qualify. he said, you're the last name on the list. We'll go to the one below you, Mike Hallett. I said, well, okay, well, I'll have a game. Mike will have to qualify. There's nothing against Mike, but he had to play in the qualifiers. It would have been me, but I would never have done that. And I was never felt so nervous. I'd practiced for a few weeks for it, not every day. Played not bad in practice, but it felt so different getting out there. And I thought, this is not right for me. I don't want to play anymore. And it goes back to when I finished playing in 2003. I was dropping down, and the relief when I stopped, because I didn't have to worry about all the cue action stuff and the stuff that, thinking about all this stuff. And overnight, it wasn't a problem anymore.
Do you have coaches?
Well, I mean, obviously my dad at first, and then Frank, who obviously coached you a lot, he helped me a little bit.
You're joking.
Well, he's a legend. Frank was a legend, wasn't he? Yeah. And then Terry was great. I used to go and drive up to Llanelli and see Terry. He'd help me, and he was a clever bloke, knew the game inside out as well. But not too many other people, I don't know. I think the problem is the more you think about this game, the more difficult it is sometimes. Yeah. So I think you were so instinctive in your prime, maybe, and then you lost your form and you went to Frank, who we both love. He's a great coach in his time, God rest his soul. Maybe when you think about it, you feel like you're a better player, but you're not quite the same as when you were doing it all off the top of your head.
Exactly. Yeah, absolutely. But we've got some questions here. If you want, are you prepared?
Yeah. Well, I don't know.
Some of it. Well, this is one. I think this was someone put in. I forgot the name, but I put it anyway. Do you enjoy being a pundit more than you did playing?
Yeah. Well, that kind of
the name. Whoever it was, sorry, because I forgot to write the name for that.
Well, you'd have probably pronounced it wrongly anyway, wouldn't you? That's when this was happening every week. I've watched a couple of these. Yes, I do. The answer to that is yes. And I think the one thing about that I would say is when you're playing, you can take your snooker home with you. And once you finish the match, you haven't really forgotten about it. Whereas when you're a pundit, you can see something brilliant or see something terrible. You put the mic down, you're gone, aren't you? Yeah. So that's your involvement in that over.
Would you prefer in the commentary box or the studio, or about just both the same, or do you prefer one of the other?
I quite like the commentary.
Yeah, because you're there when it's happening, aren't you? Although, I mean, obviously we've both been in matches that are just turgid, but you just you can't wait to get out of there, but you don't know what to say. But I know what you said, because the studio, obviously we have long periods in the studio with inactivity kind of thing. Yeah. In the commentary, you've got to be concentrating.
I know, and I think with that commentary, I think it's very difficult because you can get a little bit. You can say things, you can upset the players without meaning to. I mean, there's certain players I know that you've got to keep your eye on. I mean, they're going to be listening to you. Neil Robertson listens to it all. Yeah. Mark Selby listens to it all. Some of the others do. And, I remember when I was playing, there was one or two commentators, I almost was hoping they wouldn't do my games because, they felt like like they were a jinx to me. And also, I didn't always enjoy listening to what they were saying. I remember one commentator, when I was playing in the World Cup for England, it was me and it was Steve and it was Jimmy. And I was struggling, but I really wanted to win it because I was, desperate to win. Yeah. And I felt like he was sort of like, every time Jimmy was at the table, he goes, I wonder how Steve's feeling watching this. Like, I was in this team as well. And then when Steve was playing his match, he'd say, I wonder how Jimmy's doing. I think, well, what about me? And I might be struggling for my game. But and that was Jack Carnham, who gets good press. But he wasn't someone I liked, particularly as a commentator from my own point of view. As a person, he was fine. I didn't get that issue. But sometimes they rub you up the wrong way. That's what I'm getting at. And I'm sure I do that to people as well. I don't mean to,
Carlos 198958 says, what's the best match you've commentated on, if you can remember?
Well, you know what? There was a match that you probably didn't even see, but there was, I think the answer to that, and they showed it again on Eurosport recently, it was the first time they played the Northern Ireland Open in the new home nations. Mark King won it and he beat Barry Hawkins. Now, you wouldn't think, why would that be the best match? It's actually a brilliant match. It went to the decider. The frame before, it was a respot, and having been there was 20 in it on the pink and black, and Mark King got Barry Hawkins to knock the black in. It went 8-all, and it was 9-8 finish, and it was Mark King's only ranking event victory, and he celebrated properly, as you'd hope he'd do. Lauren Higgins presented it, which was fantastic. Alex's daughter. The venue was the weirdest thing as well. It was the Titanic Centre. It was they've gone to the waterfront now, but it was like a huge tent. I mean, it was the most ridiculous venue, but it had a great atmosphere. You know, it was like the wind was blowing, the aircrafts were going overhead, so noisy. But I actually think that was a great match, you know, and just for different reasons to what you might think. It might have been, you know, I can remember you playing, Steve in the UK final, which we all talk about. I didn't commentate on that, obviously, but that was a match that I remember commentating on that I really enjoyed because it was just about the moment and seeing someone win that didn't usually win.
Yeah. McGee.Brendan, what do you consider your best achievement in snooker?
Well, there weren't that many. You know, that's the thing. You see, I don't know. I mean, I suppose winning. I only won one ranking event, which was the international, which was when it was in the UK. That was a big thing for me, and I had a good season because I got the semi-final of the Worlds that year, the final of the UK. I had a good season. And couldn't quite follow it up. I think it was then. What I remember about that most of all, right, as defending champion, the next year I was up against a qualifier, first round.
Right.
I had to play you the next year. My first match
was that
as defending champion. I don't know where it was. No, I think no, because no, that was the only time I ever got. Yeah, no, but the year after I won my only ranking event, going back to defend it, like in the last 64, I ended up playing you. I mean, you were coming through. I'm thinking, this is not a great draw for me, is it? We know this guy's good. I could have played anybody in that round. So, like, you know, I could have done with a little bit of better chance to maybe do a little further, having won it the year before, you know?
Yeah.
You hammered me.
Well, I remember that going back to that Mercantile Credit, you made one of the best breaks ever in a decider. It was 4-4, because that was my first. I'd beaten Silvino Francisco, who's my first. He was a top 16. That was the first big name I ever beat. And then I played you the last round to qualify for the TV, and we were 4-4. And you made this 50 or 60 break all from the blue.
Yeah, I remember that. And what I'll say about that is your mother wrote me a letter, you know, because I was nice to you in the press after that. Yeah, she wrote me a letter and said, you know, thanks for being kind to Stephen, which I thought was really nice, you know.
I didn't know that.
No, she did. She wrote a letter. Yeah, it was like the next tournament was there, you know.
Wow.
Yeah. She claimed to be your mother. I'm sure it was. I don't think it was like an imposter. It's a weird thing to make up.
Assam_99X, who, in your opinion, is the GOAT? You got just be like, don't. I know you think Ronnie, don't you?
Well, I mean, I think so, but I mean, I think that.
My mum just come out and said, yes, it was me. My mum, she's watching.
Yeah, no, that's great. No, the two best players in the world are you and Ronnie, but the only reason I think Alan did a very detailed piece on it.
I was impressed with it.
Brilliant piece of writing, I thought. I just think that maybe the only thing that makes me think that he is the best player of all time is how long he's gone on for. That's all I can say. Yeah. And I thought for years he was going to be the biggest underachiever in the game because we all know he looked like it. Play. I mean, he was a frighteningly good player, wasn't he, when he was 17? In fact, before he turned professional, he was better than most professionals, actually. 14 or 15, there was something about him. And also the fact that he's gone on so long, you know, and I don't know what he's playing like right now, but up until a year ago, he won the Tour Championship a year ago, beat Judd in it. So, yeah, that's the answer. But there are two that are different class to all the rest, and then that's not just because I'm speaking to you.
Do you think the fact of this, if the World Championship and he does play in it's behind closed doors, he'll prefer that than all the other stuff that goes around it?
Well, he can't complain about anyone moving in the crowd or anything. Like, he's been so bad for that lately, isn't he? You know, he's had photographers thrown out and all that. I don't know. Do you know what? Honestly, I've got no idea what will happen in the World Championships. No one. I couldn't predict. As I say, I'd almost like it to be somebody that's won it before, just a tournament, another champion, you know. And I'd like to see that because it just would seem weird if someone else would win. I guess if it was a different winner, they'd have £500,000 to console themselves with. Yeah, if people didn't really think they were worthy champions.
Just to let people know, did you do that top 10, by the way?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Just who is watching, we're both going to give our top 10 players of all time sometime during this.
Okay. Right. Yeah, I've written them down, yeah.
The _1_ Beauchamp, what bands are you into at the moment?
Right now, I've bought the new Badly Drawn Boy album, which came out Friday, which I'm a big fan of his for the last 20 years.
He was on Sunday Brunch yesterday, and he's on house, flipping out with like a woolly hat on and a parka.
He's always worn the woolly hat. Massive fan of him. Car Seat Headrest new album came out last month. I love that band. Right. I saw you actually putting up Neutral Milk Hotel yesterday.
Yeah,
Probably had a couple of drinks, had you?
I tell you what I do when I've had a couple of bottles of wine, I start putting up a playlist. It's the only time I do it. So if anyone sees me do it, you know I'm
yeah, I know. Yeah, I get the picture straight away when I see that.
No, but I mean, you recommended that album to me. I mean, it's just a stunning album. Neutral Milk Hotel.
In the aeroplane over the sea.
Yeah, it's just a stunning album.
It's worth a listen, isn't it, for anybody? You know, just,
it's an incredible album. Jang De Pong, how many days do you take off snooker when you're playing if you were bored?
Hang on, say again. How
many days would you take off the game if you were bored? If you just, I don't know, if you were pissed off of playing or whatever it was.
Playing?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, sometimes you have to have some. I don't know what it was like for you, but I used to think when I was practicing, sometimes I feel like I was getting nowhere.
Were you 5 days a week or 7 days a week or just?
I know I would play every day, maybe only on a Sunday morning for an hour or two, not for all day, you know. But I'd play all week. I think you have to, but I think as you get older, you feel less inclined to do that, don't you? That's the problem. I think sometimes you need a break. A break is better than just to keep going.
Yeah,
if you're playing all the time and getting nowhere, you say, right, I'm going to get 3 or 4 days off. And you probably come back feeling a bit more alert and interested in it than if you just played through it, you know?
Yeah. Charles Kelly, 6637. What World Championship match was his best performance?
Who, mine?
Yeah.
Well, I suppose it was, I mean, I beat Alex Higgins on my debut there, which was a big thing for me. But, I mean, the year I got the semi-final, I didn't play well. I hadn't been well, and it wasn't really the best I ever felt there, to be honest with you.
Tony Knowles beat you?
No, I lost to Joe. I lost to
Johnson.
Joe. Yeah, the year after he won it. I don't know. I think I played some good matches quite early there, but you know, listen, my record at the Crucible was not great, really. I think I was one of these that had some. Well, I think everyone's like that. I had some really good memories there. You know, I beat Higgins, as I say, on debut there, and got through some matches that year. And I think you got some of your worst experiences there. Also, you might be one of the few that doesn't have that. What I do remember about that year beating Higgins, that the next round, he was commentating on my match, Alex Higgins. I don't know if anyone knows, but he commentated for the BBC that year. And what I remember about that was you could see in the commentary box, there was this blue smoke. He'd been smoking in there all the way through. I can't remember who he was commentating with, whether it was a smoker or a non-smoker. But if it was, and like when he opened it, it was like the Hound of the Baskerville. All the smoke came out, you know. He commentated that year after I knocked him out. Yeah.
Jeez.
Strange one, isn't it?
Very strange.
Yeah, 1 year.
I'll never get this. Dimitri's Papa Christo. Do you think Ronnie can or will win another world title?
Well, I thought that if the World Championship had happened when we thought it would, you know, in April, I thought maybe he had his best chance for 3 years because the pressure it was in a strange way off him, I felt, you know, because the fact that he had quite a bad season, he hadn't done much this season at all. And I think he might have one more in him because I still think if he's not the best player, he's in the top 3 still, isn't he? You know, maybe, you know, obviously Judd and maybe Neal Robertson and just 1 or 2 others, Mark Selby, but he's up there, so he can definitely win it. But I think maybe the pressure seems to get to him these days. I mean, when he played James Cahill last year, he played some odd shots in that match in the first session. Like he's not really relishing being back there, you know? No, maybe that's what it is.
I just find it astounding that someone as good as him, it's been, was it 7 years now, and he's not won it. I just find that astounding.
Well, I think that, yeah. I mean, the year after...
He obviously doesn't like the long slog of it. That's the always, you know...
It's not bad, though, to win it all those times without, you know, I mean, 5 times. It's not bad, really, if you don't like it. I think when he lost in that final to Selby in 2014, he's never been the same player since then. He's only he's not won very, very many matches since then, you know, only about 3 or 4 matches since then.
Really?
You know, yeah. Well, I've forgotten exactly how many, but he's not been at the one table since anyway.
Right. Dmitry Sazov, I suppose it's to both of us. I suppose. How do you handle boring matches? Well, I mean you know me. You're in the studio and I'm commentating and it's a poor match and you text me say, are you still in there? Because I go quiet. Sometimes I just find it hard to say something.
I suppose that's
why I think you're above like because you can still manage to make it like interesting. Like where I really struggle.
I don't know. I mean, I sometimes I struggle, but I do have to remind myself what it was like when I was playing. I don't know. I think there's very few players that I really think I just don't want to do this match. There are one or two, and I won't mention the names. There's just one or two you think, why do I have to do this match? Because it's it's a match that is going to be long, drawn out, and most of the time, some players just are slow. There's certain players who you wish they'd played quicker, and you think it would actually benefit them. Do you know? I mean, going back to my days, I remember a player. Rather than bring anyone to the modern day, Tony Mio, who you remember, he was the most naturally gifted player at the time, almost the same as Jimmy. But he just made himself play slow and drawn out in matches. And I think they're the most frustrating because actually it's not their style. They've just dragged themselves into it.
Dean Reynolds was another one. He was quite. If you watched him playing practice or whatever, he was quite quick and natural. But he got in a match, he just got bogged down.
He was. He was, and I think they played each other, and it ended badly, didn't it? Those two, with Dean Reynolds crying. I think at the Crucible they played, and John Williams warned them both, Mio and Reynolds. So but they're the frustrating ones, I think. But listen, it's hard out there. I mean, I'll try not to. They're playing for their livings, and also the other thing about it is you have to remember sometimes their mum and dad and family are watching. You don't want to be too critical of players. I get sucked into it, and I know you do. Yeah, but I think you've got more right to do that than me. Having played the game so well.
I know. I think the first time Kyron played at the World Championship, I think I was pretty harsh on him. He was in a match with Richard Walden, and it was a poor match. It was, and I think his brother tweeted something about it on Twitter, and so. But I know you're right. You got to be careful, but you just got to say what you see, ain't you? If it's good, you say it's good. It's bad, you say it's bad. What else can you do? Give your opinion.
Well, that's right. That's right. That's very true.
Jordan Breen asks, both in their prime, who wins, Ronnie or Judd, in a world final? Say.
Well, I mean, the point is, Judd's prime has only really been the last 18 months. So I suppose it's hard to say, but I'd have to say Ronnie.
Yeah,
I'd stick with Ronnie at the moment. I mean, in his prime. I mean, right now,
I don't know as many Triple Crowns.
I think
he's a good age, isn't he, I suppose, to dominate,
I don't know. I don't know. He's got the world at his feet, Stephen, at the moment, hasn't he?
Yeah, well, I don't know who's going to stop him. Like, I mean, you would fancy him to win if he plays the next 10, 15 years. You think he's going to win a dozen? I don't know. At least, I don't know.
Well, he's taken the pledge. The last 18 months or so, he's taken the pledge, right? Because we all knew how good he was. And somewhere along the lines, he's like, I've had enough of this. I've had enough of this not winning, living a little bit like the lifestyle, I mean, he still enjoys his life, don't get me wrong, but something's clicked and he said, right, now I'm going to put the hours in. I'm going to give myself a chance. And since he made that decision, he's won a lot of ranking events. He's won 9 ranking events. And I think he's 9 out of 17 that he's played in. He's got a phenomenal strike rate. So he deserves everything he gets, but he's not quite there yet because he's got to do it for longer, hasn't he?
Definitely. Ali Thorne, 12. In 20 years, which current player will make the best pundit?
Right.
Neil Robertson might be quite good.
Who did you say?
Neil Robertson might be quite good.
Neil Robertson, yeah. I've worked with Neil. He did a few days on the Masters the year he never played in it because he got dropped out the 16. And he did some days on the German for Eurosport. And he was good. And he's interested in the game, that's the thing. And to be honest, a few of the players that play now, I'm lucky enough to work with on a few occasions. Ali Carter's done a few days. He was good. Mark Allen was very good, did some days as well.
Yeah. Joe Perry, wasn't he?
Joe Perry, yeah. Joe Perry has done stuff. I don't know. Sean Murphy's going to be good, isn't he? I think. But you've got to be interested in the game. You've got to love the game, I think. If you don't love the game, it's going to be hard to be a pundit. If you're just doing it because you know that's the next step and you're not really that bothered, it's never going to work, I don't think.
Harrison _416. Which of the Chinese players will be first to be world champion, if any? Who's most likely is probably a better question. Who can?
Well,
I mean, the guy Jin Tong is you and because I hadn't seen much of him, but you and Alan raved about him, didn't you? Said he was a brilliant player. I haven't seen a lot of him, but he looks talented.
Yeah, the trouble is the Chinese players, as good as they are, have gone so far, and then they've kind of flattened out a little bit, haven't they, with their game? I mean, the most likely Chinese winner is probably still Ding, is it? I mean, I would say that the biggest shock of this season, and you could say, well, it might have been someone winning a smaller event. To me, the biggest shock of the season was Ding winning the UK because his form on either side, it was diabolical.
Yeah.
I mean,
unbelievable.
don't get me wrong, he's won the UK twice before, so how can it be a shock? Well, if you'd seen him play, when he won the UK, he played fantastic. He beat Ronnie, he beat everybody, played great game against Maguire, and he said, ding, he's back.
The 2 years up to that, he's been horrendous.
And he's been no good since either, because he's lost 3 times in a row to Scott Donaldson, who's a good player, actually. He won the Championship League. But he seems to have gone straight back to it. So I don't understand. It's not that I don't understand how he won it. I don't really understand what's been going on either side of it, you know?
I don't know. I don't know whether it's too much money or he's all lost the hunger, whether he's practicing anymore. I don't know. But a lot of the time, certainly before and after that UK, it just looks like he doesn't want to be there to me.
No, I think that of the young Chinese players, it's very difficult. I mean, it's very difficult to say which one. I mean, I think I've changed our mind, you know, on a few occasions. Yao Jintong is very good, I agree. And Yan Sejun looked really good. I mean, he was the guy we saw in one of the ITV events, and you rated him highly, and he seems to have not gone forward.
I thought a lot of them. I mean, a lot of them they're like almost snooker robots, aren't they? Because they play all these hours every day, and what you watch them in the tournaments, and they miss a black of a spot, and they almost can't believe they've missed it. It's like the robots. It's like the system's gone down or something like that. For me, it's not. I don't know. It's hard to explain. Not a lot of sort of naturalness about it, kind of thing. You know.
Someone will come through, though. Someone will definitely come through, and they'll do it. And I mean, at the moment, you know, Yan Bingtao is the young player coming through, and he's doing well. I mean, he's won a ranking event now, and he's had some big runs in tournaments. He's in the Tour Championship, and you can't get in that unless you've done well in the 8-man event. But I'm not so sure that he's not absolutely sure he's the best. Of all the Chinese.
He's not. He's got well. As I said, I don't even know how to describe him as a player. I don't know. That when he lost in the final to Judd, and I just thought, I don't know. There was nothing, no spark about him really. It was strange. No.
Very strange, and yet he's winning and he's doing well. So it's hard. It's baffling, really. It is baffling.
Heathen_Fez, did you have any pre-match rituals or superstitions?
Well, I always say, I tried not to have superstitions because I felt it was unlucky to have those. No, not really. No, I mean, I think if you're winning, you know, you make the same journey all the time. I mean, you must have done it at the Crucible. You must have walked the same way, gone the same, I don't know. No, nothing too dramatic, but I used to avoid doing anything out of the ordinary. I used to try and keep myself in my own little routines, basically. I wouldn't call it superstitions because you can get worked up with those. I mean, you can try not to walk on the cracks in the pavement and all that sort of stuff. You just got to keep yourself away from that because you can go mad, can't you?
Absolutely. I used to stay in the same hotel, same room, everything, but it wasn't super sad. Just no, it was just a routine.
Yeah,
it's like going to work. It's like someone going you do the same thing every year. It wasn't that I had to, but yeah, it's. You
used to stay away from the Crucible. You stay at the George that down the road.
Yeah, about 2-3 miles outside the city centre.
Yeah,
stay there, and it was like there was 1 or 2 players stayed there, but it was very quiet. Very quiet.
Better off away from all the hurly-burly, really.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know that. Stephen_147_8. Did you ever play each other at the Crucible? Did we play the Crucible? Don't think so.
No. That never happened. No. Listen, you mentioned it. The only time I ever beat you was that very first time, and never again. So you did nice to mention it. You know, you did well to mention that. But I played you on a number of occasions. Never got anywhere near again, I don't think, you know, and I was right in the middle of it, you know, I was right in the eye of it all. When you was at your prime, I was on the wrong end of it. I was one of them.
I was just flicking through Twitter before we came on, and then Niall Kelly on this a Twitter question: is it time to move from the Crucible to a bigger venue in the 21st century? I
don't think so.
No, I hope it never leaves.
Depends where it is. I mean, something might come along that's better. Whether that person meant in China or in somewhere else in the UK, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if you saw what I did, but you know, when the World Championship was cancelled, I wondered if there would be, when they were talking about rearranging it at the time, I wasn't sure whether the Crucible might not have been available for the date. So I put up a poll saying, if we can't play at the Crucible as a one-off year, where would you like it to be played?
Yeah.
And I put up 3 venues or any other you wanted to explain. And the Barbican did well in York because it's in Yorkshire, basically. That was one that did well. The Ali Pali won it That was the winning most, votes for that one. Great venue, but I think the Masters, you wouldn't have it there unless you had to.
Yeah.
The only place I think you could play it, and it was on the list, was the Temperature. I don't know how well you know it, but you could play 2 tables there. You'd get 17 days of people watching it, because snooker's so big out there.
Yeah.
And you would get a very appreciated World Championship. But the answer is, I hope it stays at the Crucible.
Yeah. I think when people used to say to me, I said, well, if it has to leave, I think I'd like it to be possibly like the British Open golf, where you've got 4 or 5 venues, and you just keep going back to them, and you rotate. So then say it'd be like going the Open going back to St Andrews. If the next year is going to be at the Crucible, there'd be such a huge build-up of excitement that it was going to go back to the Crucible. But you'd have 3 or 4 other venues like the Temperdrum, and you maybe just go around 4 or 5. But I'm like you, I can't see it, because I mean, obviously I had great memories. I think it's the best place to play snooker. But I wouldn't like to leave there.
Did you like it straight away there? Because I think that venue, there's an argument that it isn't the best venue really when you first go there, because it's really pokey and cramped. But when you got there, did you think did I expected something different to this?
I'd been there the year before. I turned pro. Had a walk around, and I'd seen because Jimmy was my hero growing up, and Jimmy was on the practice table, and I'd walked past Steve. He wouldn't give me a nod in the desert then.
No chance.
Well, I don't think he gave any other players, never mind me. But yeah, so I'd been around it, and I just loved it. I just thought I love that claustrophobicness about it.
Yeah,
I think that's why I think it's the biggest test. That's why a lot of players, I don't think they can. They're like rabbit in headlights. They can't handle it.
No, remember you saying that it doesn't really start as a tournament until the semi-final stages, because the 2 tables can be. And if your concentration is not right, I think you might struggle there as well, because it can get a little bit hectic in there. But when you're down at the 1 table, then, you feel you're really, and that's when you really thrived, wasn't it? You loved it there at the 1 table.
Yeah, I mean, it amazes me when you commentate on the matches there, and you can see players sort of get irritated at the noise on the other side. But most of the venues now, there's multi-tables, and if there is 2 tables, like in York, there's no divider. There's much more distractions at other places. But the Crucible, maybe because it's so small, it's on them.
So would you take the divide away at the Crucible, like everywhere else has?
No, never.
Wouldn't work, would it?
No, I used to. It used to be if you weren't playing well, you'd find yourself drifting when you'd be listening to what's going on another table. When if someone's on a central break or that, you could hear the referee. And you'd be thinking, well, you'd hear the noises if someone missed. No, I wouldn't. No, it'd have to be the divider.
No,
you couldn't change anything about the Crucible, I don't think.
No, and I don't think even if you wanted to change it, that wouldn't work, because it would be hard to concentrate there, because again, unless you've been there, people wouldn't realise just how close everything is. The 2 tables are really tight, and the crowd are on top of you. Yeah,
it's like the changes they made at the Masters this year were magnificent. I thought it was just brilliant. But that's a special tournament. It's like 16 players, and you could do what you want with that. I thought it was just brilliant. But you couldn't touch the Crucible, I don't think. It's got to stay.
No, it was good. No, the Masters was great. Yeah, Jimmy kept creeping up to the old Century
Did you
Club.
go up for old fillet steaks? Did you up in the?
Not really. No. I mean, I know 1 or 2 people that got
Jimmy and Goldstein. Weren't they? They're up there all the time.
They're up there all the time. I think they're like lunch and dinner every day.
Prawn Sandwich Brigade up the top.
I'm not sure they were, but there was. They crept up there once or twice.
Has a Wardle just is asking, if you got any best hotel bar stories from your playing days? Any story?
Wow, don't know. I'd have to think about that one. What are we talking about here? I wonder.
Well, I don't know. That's something. What can you even say if there even if there was one? Here's one for you. SJR_79. Why doesn't Neal play any shots like Jimmy does in Eurosport?
I know. Well, I get that all the time, right? Well, I do a bit of commentary, right, and I do the punditry. So I think sometimes I have a little rest when it comes down to playing the shots, and also I probably would miss them. I think that would be the, I'd like to think that maybe I haven't got to do everything. That's all it is. But and also I think actually Andy especially, he's quite a good little player. He can he plays quite well. And I think he can play a few of the shots well. And listen, it's it's good fun. The trouble with all that shot playing is, if you play like a complicated shot and then someone misses it and the ball gets smashed over the table, the respotting of them all and getting them all back, it's a bit chaotic. You know what I mean?
Ed Reach wants to know, how did Jeff react to losing 5-0 to Neal at the 1986 International Open?
Well, let me tell you, he was a non-trier in that match. Yeah, he was. Yeah, he didn't want to beat me, but he probably wasn't going to beat me. But I could have got him done, I think, for not trying in that match if I'd have wanted to. I could have gone to the gambling commission and said he just wasn't interested, because he knew that I had a chance of going a long way, and he knew he didn't. But he knew the match between us was weird,
right?
Because it is the weirdest thing. I mean, the day that Peter and Ollie Lyons play each other in a big match, they won't enjoy it. I tell you, it's horrible. It's nothing, because I always used to, go and watch my dad and cheer him on, and when I was playing, he was right behind me, as you remember. For us to play each other, it just didn't work out. It was horrible. Right. And we played twice. We played it in the English as well, English professional, and it was nice. Mum came along to that and everything, when she never used to come to watch snooker. So, it is the most surreal experience playing your dad, really, or anyone in your family.
Yeah. Right. So we're going to go to this, finish off with this top 10 players of all time. I've got mine, but I don't know what you got. Do you want to start at 10 and go down, or 10
okay.
to 1, or?
All right. Yeah, no, I don't. Do you want me to list mine first, or do you want to go 10 first?
We'll go one by one, shall we? What I've done, I've listed my 10 players of all time when they're at their best. So people can say, "Oh, such and such wouldn't live in today's game," and all that. I've forgotten all that. I've just people at their best. I've put them as my all-time greatest players. So at 10, I've got Alex Higgins.
Yeah, well, I haven't got Alex Higgins in my list, but he was very close, and his achievements in the game are enormous. A great player. My 10 is Judd. Now Judd could be higher,
right?
And he's guaranteed to be higher, isn't he? But right now, how can he be higher? If you look at some of the names above him, he's won 3 Triple Crowns. He won all the big events once, isn't he? He won the Masters, the UK, and the Worlds. So right now, I think he's 10, but he's a big improver.
Right. So your criteria is going to be a little bit different from mine then.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I've got to go by what people achieve, not what they might achieve. So maybe. Okay. You didn't say that when I spoke to you earlier about it, that you were going to put in a little disclaimer.
I was just thinking when I was doing it, because I was thinking of different eras and that. The only way I can do it is put is at their best. My 9 is Jimmy for me.
Okay. I've got Neal Robertson in there, and I think with Neal Robertson, there's got to be a crossover where the players that you've your career thought were the greats, there's got to be some new players coming through. And I think Neal, even though he's won the world title only once, he's won all the big events. He started the last couple of years to win a lot of tournaments now. So Neal is in there at number 9 for me.
Yeah, I put Jimmy down at 9, because a lot of people will say he should be a lot further up, and he was my hero growing up, and he was fantastic, and it upsets me a bit when people sort of diss Jimmy as a player, because they don't know how good he was in the game. But Absolutely. In terms of, I think at his best, I just think he lacked a little bit and against other top players. That's why I put him down at number 9. 8, I've put Ding Junhui.
Okay. I've not got Ding in there, but again, he's close. I mean, again, I just don't know where Ding is. It's hard to think that you can say that about someone that won the UK Championship. He's not in there, but he's right on the edge. Mark Williams, I've got him at 8, and I think he probably could have been higher than that. Having said that, a couple of years ago, he might not have been in the 10, but I think his achievement of winning his 3rd world title a couple of years ago is a great achievement, and the snooker he played then, so he's one of the best. So Mark Williams, 8 for me. Yeah,
I put the Ding in. I just think his scoring power is just phenomenal when he's on. I do think he should have won a world championship by now. He hasn't, and that's a weakness, and that's why he's down as low as 8. Number 7, I've got Selby.
Okay, Selby's in mine, but 7, I've got Ray Reardon. I've got to put him in. I think he's one of the great players when I was growing up. There's the argument, would he have beaten any of the players now? I don't know. We'll never know that. I know that he won 6 world titles. I know that he was a great player. And I know that even when I sort of watched snooker, Ray wasn't a particularly young man. I'm sure when he was a younger man, he was a better player. But also, aside from all the things he won, he had an incredible presence to play. I don't know how well you knew him or played him, but
I haven't seen any of them, so I couldn't really. I mean, obviously 6 world titles, and what people have said, he had to be a top snooker. But I never really seen him. The only match I think I seen him play was against Higgins in the final, the World Championship, when Higgins beat him. That's the only. I know. Number 6, I put Neal Robertson.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I understand. Well, I've got Mark Selby, so we've kind of got the same players in there.
Mm.
I think with Mark, I don't know where he is with his game. I mean, he won two of the home nations last year, but he won the English and he won the Scottish, so he had a good run because he'd never done well in that.
Mm.
If he has some more runs in big majors, he can go further. But he has won the world title 3 times in the last decade.
Yeah,
So
and he was number one for how many? 4 years, 5 years. So I mean, I
yeah,
mean, it really shouldn't be as low as 7. But I just think I don't know, but it's
he's a bit of a worrier, isn't he? I think he
yeah,
worries
yeah,
about his game, but he
insecure.
shouldn't do because he's got nothing to worry about. He's a great player.
5, I have put Mark Williams, and I know the
Yeah.
arguments against him is he's probably not won anywhere near as much as the likes of Sullivan and Higgins, the class of '92. But again, going by when he can play his best game, I think he's almost unbeatable because he's got the full package: the temperament, the tactical game, and maybe he's not as high a scorer regularly as Sullivan and Higgins, but
Yeah.
I just think he's got the lot.
No, no one could argue with that. I think you're right, and I think, as I say, that winning the world title like he did was a great achievement. I've got Jimmy at 5. Maybe I'm a bit biased because he's an old pal, but but for you, he could have won maybe 3 world titles. He got into 5 finals in a row, didn't
Yeah.
he, at the Crucible? And he won the UK and he won the Masters. He won the Masters in '84. And also, I don't know if it was you I was speaking to. We were speaking about sometimes stuff off the table affected me in my life, and I don't know if it affected you, but it affects a lot of people. And I think it was you said to me, how did Jimmy go on so long? Because there's always something going on off the table with Jimmy,
Yeah.
wasn't there? There's stuff he was getting, things he'd done wrong, but just, family stuff, everything. And there was always something in the paper about him. And yet he's just bounced off him, didn't it? Incredible
Yeah.
bloke. And that's one of the reasons, but also he's just a great player.
Yeah, fabulous player. Number 4, I've got Steve Davis. I
Yeah.
think, again, going, we've done a thing with Alan last week, and I said who would win with Steve Davis in his prime against Judd, and I think you can't really have that as a matchup. But at his best, he dominated the game for a decade and was pretty much unbeatable.
I know, and that's right. And the other thing about that is we had this discussion at Eurosport a little while ago, and I put Steve ahead of John Higgins at the time. And I remember someone saying, one of the pundits on there said, surely Steve wouldn't beat John Higgins. Well, actually, he did beat him, age 52 at the Crucible. So, and whether he would or not, he actually did.
Yeah.
So, he's a great player. I mean, I've got John Higgins in there at number 4.
Right. I've got John at number 3.
Yeah, I mean, look, we speak about John at the same time. A great player, still playing to a high level. I'm not sure if he looks as interested in the game as he did, but he still plays well. He's been in the last 3 world finals. I don't fancy him to win every week somehow. When you see a tournament, you think, well, these are the players.
Yeah.
I don't think John's about to win anything, but someone's going to have to beat him still. And at the long tournaments like the Worlds, he's very hard to beat, isn't he, still?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I don't know whether he enjoys the practice as much as he used to, and he's got the dedication that he used to have. But there was a time a couple of seasons ago, I can't remember, there was 3 or 4 tournament stint where he just looked unbeatable. And his scoring power, it was a hard choice for me, actually, 2 and 3, because I put Judd Trump at 2. Because I think he's taken the game to another level. I think at his best, he was unplayable in that final last year against Higgins, unplayable. And,
I agree.
And if he carries that on, I mean, it's just, they say he's going to take the game to a new level.
I might have been a bit hard on him, putting him down low, but maybe you can understand why I did, because right now, I mean, you of all people know about what you win and what you don't win, and he's won everything, but he's not won them again yet, although I think he will do, and I think in 5 years' time we have this conversation, he's probably going to be right up there. But my number 3 is Steve Davis, because I thought he was as dominant in his prime as you were in your prime. And he had the frighteners on everybody as well, in that no one really fancied beating him. No. He was very dedicated, great player, great ambassador, which is not really what we're talking about. But I think sometimes when you look back at some of the BBC archives that we saw when the World Championships weren't on, some of the matches he played there, the Dennis final, they showed that, and the match against Knowlesy didn't really tell you what a great player Steve was. He was a lot better than he played in those matches.
Yeah, absolutely. So 2, who's your 2 then?
Well, I've got you at 2, which
I haven't put myself in mind, by the way. Everyone's asking.
So hang on, you've got room for one more player then in yours?
Yeah, Ronnie, number 1.
So who's number 2 then?
Judd.
Oh, Judd's number 2. Sorry, right, okay.
John Higgins 3, Judd Trump 2, and Ronnie 1.
Well, I've got Ronnie 1, you 2. You know, I mean, as I said earlier, I think the only reason with Ronnie is what he's, in a way, what he's achieved in the last 5 years more. I mean, why should you retire again? Was you 42?
2012, so 8 years ago. What's that?
40?
51 now, 43, 42,
Yeah.
43.
Mind you, you probably retired too soon, didn't you? You could have played on, I think.
I could have played on and sort of done things. I might have had the odd tournament where I'd go, but I just, because my game was short, I couldn't handle it. So.
But you were, so like, even that year that you retired, I remember you played Bingham. Did you make a 147 against him?
Yeah.
And then the match with Higgins, the middle session
terrible.
was not a good game,
No.
but you beat him quite comfortably in the end. I remember that. And then you lost to Steve Maguire. So basically, you were probably the one player that retired still somewhere near the top of your game, not at the top.
I had to qualify to get there, so I wasn't in the top 16. A lot of people think,
oh wow,
top 16.
Yeah, that's right.
I had to beat Judd to get to the Crucible. Yeah, so I put Ronnie at the top. I just think he plays the game. His cue ball is an artist with a cue ball. It's just incredible. 1,000 centuries. At his best. I think I'd put him number one. But as I say, Judd, and you asked me in 5 years' time, you know, it could well be Judd.
Well, he's going to have to win a lot of things. As I say, you know, he's got to keep winning, and I think that he's turned the corner. You know, in that I don't think he was the most dedicated before. I don't really know actually what was going on in his life. I think there's a lifestyle change in there somewhere, and since his brother's been with him, he's been a different prospect. Interestingly, I noticed his brother can't go in with him next week because no guests are allowed or anything at
really?
And that might be the Worlds, you know, and that's an interesting factor because
they can't even travel together. Can't even travel up there.
I don't know about that part, but no guests allowed with the players. And if that, you know, actually goes on to the World Championships, maybe that'll be a factor because occasionally certain players need the head put right, especially at the Crucible, you know. Yeah. I mean, as I say, I'm absolutely at a loss to know how that's all going to end up, but let's hope we're involved in it and watching it.
Yeah. I mean, I was just going to say I need to finish now because we'll get caught off in a minute.
Okay,
I
mate.
appreciate you doing this. I mean, really enjoyed it. But yeah, I mean, we'll look forward to next week. I mean, as I say, it's the first live snooker. I mean, that blooming, what was that game they put on World Snooker, like virtual snooker or the virtual World Championship?
Yeah.
What was that about?
Well,
many viewers did that get?
I don't know, but everyone was scratching around to watch something.
Yeah,
there was nothing
Grand
live anywhere.
Everything. Yeah, live sport, live snooker is you know. Let's hope it's a good tournament.
I think ITV are doing a big deal there. They're actually sticking their neck out and they're really trying to make it good. And I think they're putting a lot in as a world snooker. So I really hope they succeed with it all. You know.
Yeah. Anyway, so I'll see you.
Nice one.
Through one of these next week. I appreciate it, Neal. Stay safe. Give my best to your dad and mum.
Yeah, lovely. Thanks,
Cheers,
mate.
Neal.
Cheers.
All right, speak to you soon. Cheers. I enjoyed that. That was good. As I say, Neal is one of the most knowledgeable people in snooker, and you know, the best pundit, best commentator by a mile, I think. Alan McManus is also brilliant. Is taking it sort of a different area, but both of them just tremendous to work with. Yeah, thanks for joining, and stay safe, everybody. See you soon.